And unfortunately, some of the Protosses and even some Zergs retiring, leaving an even bigger opening for the Terrans. But a couple of players who haven't retired are right here in this best of 5, this grand finals of the KSL. It's like a practice match for the GSL semifinals, preparation for both of these players. A little sneak peek of what we might see in those Afrika studios. In the upper left-hand corner of Neo Humanity, we have the Blue Zerg for Dragon Kitesy Gaming. Dark. And his opponent in the lower right-hand corner, Teamless. It is a mystery how this man has remained teamless through some dominant play lately. It is the Red Terran, the Towel Terran, GuMiho. I mean, he's looked so strong lately, taking down some of the best players in the world at the biggest events. DreamHack Jönköping and now GSL, just crushing. I love to see it. I mean, I've been a GuMiho fan since I started watching StarCraft, and I'm always stoked to see him do well. It was exciting seeing him come back from military and look pretty solid, but until recently it was like, yeah, he's good. You know, he's very good. Now it's like, oh, he's one of, maybe right now, the best Terran. Straight up. He could be the best Terran in the world right now. His performances lately have been sick. Dark's like, I don't want to play a macro game. So he's got the Roach Warren down. We got Lings coming across the map. It's beautiful. So he's scouting the 2 Rax Reaper opening. It's a very standard TVZ opening these days, thanks to Biyun and Maru. Just making this a thing in every single TVZ. It's just the new meta. Is this like triple Reaper opening with the 2 Raxes in the wall. And Dark knows this, so I imagine his build is a straight up response to this. He's got Roaches on the way. Now GuMiho sees the timing of the base, but he didn't see the Roach Warren, crucially. He will, though, see the Roaches. He's going to try to bop these Roaches back and just do a little bits of damage. And any damage he can do here is good. I mean, Dark will probably just morph this into a Ravager, but still. Just trying to damage these Roaches and delay them. Every time they turn around to fight the Reapers, it's so good for GuMiho. This is already a slow push thanks to this slow field. The inhibitor zone generator in the middle of the map. 1 Reaper goes down, but the bunker's going to finish right as the Roaches get here. It can't hit these Roaches, though, which is a big problem for GuMiho. And as the Ravagers morph, they're going to be able to start landing vials on these bunkers. Oh, that Ravager mismicroed a little bit, queued up to go forward. Are there still Reapers out on the map? There's still one. Oh, no, there's none anymore. We tried to dive in and get some damage done. Oh, this Ravager is so low. If there was still a Reaper alive, this would be a dead Ravager. Very unfortunate for GuMiho. He's going to lift the wall because there's no Ling speed behind this. So Dark can't just like rush Zerglings in or anything. If the Roaches try to run by, there's 2 bunkers. The Roaches will just die. So this is a smart move from GuMiho. It will leave him exposed a little bit later, but he can always just build supply depots here. So I think GuMiho handling this very nicely. Dark putting a lot of aggression on, but Dark, in classic Dark style, drones right the hell up behind this and gets to a sick worker lead just right away. It's kind of incredible how he does this, and I really appreciate it when I watch other Zergs who will do this kind of aggression, and then I'll look back home, and maybe they've droned a little bit, but they're still behind, or it's like dead even. Dark, immediately, he hits the amount of workers he needs on these 2 bases, and he's even going higher than that. Starts taking a 3rd. He's got a lair on the way. He's always got something cooking behind this. But GuMiho, with a nice hold, now getting into Cloaked Banshees as a follow-up. Okay, all right. I like the Cloak Banshees. This could be really strong if Dark decides to go for a follow-up push, follow-up aggression, which we've seen. Actually, now that I think about it, I don't know if it was KSL or like an EPT Cup recently, but I remember between these two there was a match. One of the games, GuMiho held the initial like Roach Ravager pressure like that, and then he got a little too, he was resting on his laurels, right? A little too confident in his defense. And it was right around this point where a ton of Lings rushed in with Roach Ravager. And you know what? If there had been like 2 Banshees at that point, I think he would have held.
Oh man, Chickenman. Wow.
So I kind of like that he's going for that. It's a little bit of an insurance policy in case Dark gets kind of insane, which he does sometimes. Speaking of insane, Fractal, thank you for the 10-month resubscription. You opted not to show your 2-month streak in the chat message. Thank you for sharing that. That you didn't click, I think it's a checkbox, when you shared your resubscription. I appreciate that. That transparency is crucial to the streamer-chatter relationship. There's a third CC on the way. GuMiho happy to macro out of this, but he will have a pretty strong push coming. He's got +1 on the way, combat shields on the way, and I believe stim is already done. So, as these cloaked Banshees go try to do some harassment, this one getting a couple of kills, but gets shoved away. Follow-up medevacs will allow for GuMiho to do some pressure with the Marines as well. And that is going to force units out of Dark. He can't just deal with all these Marines with 3 Ravagers, a Roach, and a handful of Queens. He's got to get some Roaches out. It's going to stop his droning for a bit. But look at this. After all that early game aggression, super fast Roach Warren, Dark's at 69 workers right now. He hit 3 bases and he went hard on the drone button, as hard as he could. Will he have enough Roaches to hold this? I actually think if GuMiho was a little bit more aggressive, he could have gotten some big damage done. But as it stands now, Roaches are popping from right here. Cyclone's going to run forward and die. That Roach runs forward and dies. But I think enough Roaches are out now to hold this. We're going to have to see. GuMiho's feeling pretty confident, though. He's going to dive forward on top of this. 1-1 is just barely not done for these Roaches, and GuMiho's really taking advantage of having that upgrade lead for the 15 seconds he had it. It is now in Dark's favor, but a lot of those Roaches have died already. That was really, really nice for GuMiho. He's going to force a cancel on this 4th base as well. And then he's going to just sneak on out of there. Banshee not really doing anything in the meantime, but distracting Dark and distracting me. That means I am as good as Dark. Dark does get another handful of Roaches out to defend this, but that was a really good trade for GuMiho. He got that damage done right in the nick of time. He's going to dive back in here too. Force another cancel on that 4th base. Dark's going to go ahead and take this one instead. Screw it. You can have that position. I'm going to go take the other side. Banshee gets pushed away by the Queens over here as well. Metabolic Boost about to finish. Lings could be very helpful here, but they were just really non-viable until speed was done. Slow Lings are the most useless thing in the world. This tank is really nice, too. I didn't realize this could hit the mineral line. Lings buffering for the Roaches and Ravagers, but I think the Roaches and Ravagers have enough DPS to push through these Marines. The Ravagers don't really want to take that fight straight up. They want the Roaches to take the fight. The Ravagers need to be around to bile down these units. But GuMiho going to reinforce the high ground. Dark has no high ground vision. And without these Lings to buffer, the Marines are going to start target firing these Ravagers. And without the Ravagers, the tanks just do so well against the Roaches. This one even dropping out unsieged. But now it's going to be able to hold this position a little bit better. I think GuMiho's going to have to get out of here. But he's taking some really nice trades. And look at that supply. Even army supply against somebody going Roach Ravager. That is exactly where GuMiho wants to be. But Dark, he hasn't been idle behind this. He has Vipers on the way, which means he has a Hive. He's starting up the Lurker Den. He's already got the Hydra Den. Dark, through all of this holding on 3 bases, has teched up to Hive before 10 minutes. There's no other Zerg does that. Nobody else does this kind of shit. It's only Dark. But I love it because I feel like GuMiho, if he doesn't kill Dark soon, Dark's going to start getting lurkers out. And you know what? GuMiho's army isn't terrible against lurkers, but getting surprised by your opponent having lurkers is never a good time. That's a lot of bio, though. He's going to stim right in here. The roaches are up 2 upgrades, though. It is 2-2 for these roaches to the 1-1 of this bio. But it doesn't look like it's going to matter. GuMiho's still pushing through this, killing these Ravager eggs as they're morphing. Bio starting to get whittled down. There's a few medevacs, but not enough to keep everybody topped up. The tank on the high ground is going to start shelling onto these drones once again, providing some support. But roaches and Ravagers coming in from the backside. A yoink on that siege tank as GuMiho tries to pick it up. Oh, a parasitic bomb on the full medevac, too. It's actually brutal for GuMiho. Oh, he gets out of there. Okay, maybe it's not so brutal. But now Dark is taking a 5th base. He is held. GuMiho's going to keep the pressure on, though. He does not want to let Dark hold. GuMiho is not taking the 4th base just yet, but he does have a 4th CC. He's got a Ghost Academy on the way. He's going to have to wait for those ghosts out, I think, to keep pressuring against the lurkers. But we have no lurkers out just yet. There's no hydras out to morph into lurkers. I think if GuMiho saw those hydras, he would know lurkers were about to be on the field. The lurker upgrades are finishing, but Dark, he hasn't been able to breathe for a second to start getting those hydras out, to get the lurkers out. He's just desperately holding on with the roaches and Ravagers. And Dark, and he's on the back foot. GuMiho pushing through the middle with 3 siege tanks here. The bio is very close to having 2-2, but it's not done quite yet. And a few of these bio units getting caught off guard. Medevac's getting parasitic bombs here. GuMiho's got a split. Right. Only 1 medevac ends up going down there. There's a lot of medevacs in the sky. Lurkers finally starting to morph. 1 is on the way right now. But GuMiho catching Dark off guard. This base evacuated, but it does go down. Tanks decide to pull back. Don't know if GuMiho has realized that there's lurkers coming out. I don't think he's built any ghosts just yet. The ghosts are crucial here. But 18 Marauders also pretty damn good against lurkers. The Marauders don't bunch up quite as tightly as the Marines, so they don't eat as much splash damage. They also have more hit points and do more damage to the lurkers, generally speaking. But with lurkers out now, Dark can slow this game down quite a bit. Lurker Viper with this Roach Ravager is just a beautiful composition. And GuMiho has to start playing late game. He's got to start getting ghosts out. He's got to start getting into things like Liberators and trying to hit Dark in places where he's not super well defended. So he's going to dive in on the left here. He's going back in towards what was a 3rd base, but is no longer a 3rd base, but also no longer has any defenses at it. Some lurkers do show up with some of this Roach Ravager Hydra, though. And it'll be enough to push GuMiho back down that ramp. Few drones have gone down. Dark is holding, but he's holding on 4 bases. And GuMiho is also on 4 bases, dropping triple command center. He's already got 1 building. It's 4 CCs in the production tab right now. That's where GuMiho's at, while Dark is trying with all of his might to hold on 4 bases. Now Dark is max, so he can finally start getting a bit of a bank up. I feel like his economy is just not great. 68 drones. It does mean his army is great, but is it the kind of army that can push out and stop GuMiho from taking these bases? Because if GuMiho just sucks up his whole half of the map while keeping pressure on and stopping Dark from securing extra bases, GuMiho's just going to be too big. He's going to have too much. So yeah, Dark absolutely needs to do this. He's going for a push now, and I think GuMiho is pretty unprepared for this. He was not in position to deal with this push. And hey, those 3 command centers that went down all got canceled. That is a good victory for Dark, because that was GuMiho starting to get maybe too far ahead for Dark to be able to handle. Dark, content with that, decides to pull back as those ghosts show up, start sniping down Ravagers. Dark can't afford to take bad trades. He needs to keep this resource loss tab pretty damn even, if not in his favor. So we're going to keep an eye on this, because GuMiho's starting to suck up on a 5th base here. He's got a lot of income. Dark does have this base nearly reestablished, but it's already partially mined out, so this isn't even a full base coming up. They're going to be on even bases, but Dark with way less workers. This is a nice catch on a Ravager as well. It finally splats. We have a nuke in the production tab right now for GuMiho. Oh, but Dark going to jump on a couple of tanks, gets the sensor tower as well, and just backs on up. Beautifully done. Those 3 command centers got put back down in the exact same spot. GuMiho's pushing over here now, and it's a bit safer. But I love this from Dark. He's holding this side with the lurkers. It does feel very vulnerable, though, doesn't it? As all the bio is right here, including the ghosts. If we see some snipes go down on this side, that could be huge. But GuMiho is going to go for a drop in the back of the main. This spawning pool could actually be a nice target here as Adrenal is on the way. But it looks like the Queens are going to do their best to clean this up, even against the 3-3 bio. With Transfuse, they should be able to do it. GuMiho finishing up these command centers, morphing them into orbitals, dropping 3 more. It's beautiful. Building armor on the way. I saw high-sec auto tracking being made as well. GuMiho getting all of the upgrades. Dark trying to get all the upgrades. He doesn't have any melee upgrades, though. He's starting +1 now. But that Adrenal, as good as it's going to be, I think, technically does about the same amount as getting +1. Like, if you have no melee upgrades, it only does so much. So those melee upgrades are crucial. Now, Dark's army out here, it's not very quick. Oh, and I love this so much. GuMiho's just sniping the crap out of this army. He's going to lose a handful of ghosts for it. But GuMiho can afford that, I feel like, a little more than Dark can. That being said, Dark's bank is starting to get pretty big. He's taken this base over to the left, and GuMiho, for some reason, hasn't taken either of these bases at all. I feel like GuMiho has had the map pretty solidly in his control, but now as he moves out on it, the lurkers dive in. This planetary trying its best to hold a couple of snipes going down here. EMP's trying to keep those Vipers from doing too much more damage. Oh, but the ghosts are coming over. These lurkers are dead. These are dead lurkers, and they are not going to get the kill on this planetary. A couple of ghosts go down for them, but that was a big loss for Dark as well. Resources lost tab still very even. In fact, Dark a little bit behind now. Now that is okay. He has been mining more lately. It's not quite as important for him to take the crucial trades as it was earlier on. But GuMiho going for the big push now. He's bringing his ghosts with the bio. This is something he wasn't doing before. He was keeping them separate earlier. It's a super heavy ghost count. The tanks are coming in as well. Snipes going down all over the place on these Hydras, on the Ravagers. The bio, though, is getting cleaned up here. And while there's a lot of ghosts, it's just ghost tank right now. A very strong composition, but it does have some big weaknesses. It doesn't do a lot of immediate DPS like that Stim bio does. 22 Hydras on the way. Dark going just fully mass Hydra lurker right now. A lot of the lurkers have gone down, but Dark just has so many more diving in here, trying to get on top of the tanks. A few more bio units join up with this. The snipes are running low, though. The energy of these ghosts is actually starting to get taken down, and the lurkers will push this back successfully. Ooh, I think the ghosts need to back up here. Eating some big splash damage as that tank goes down. GuMiho pulling back. GuMiho maintains the supply lead. Oh my god. I guess those ghosts got some energy back because holy. There are now 9 lurkers left. I thought that was going to be a much lower number, but Dark keeps making more with his bank. He's lost 27 of them. Only 11 ghosts have gone down, conversely, and those trades were pretty even earlier, are now heavily in GuMiho's favor. And that's where this supply lead comes from. Dark had a big bank. He still has a lot of minerals, but with +1 melee, do you really want to be going into Lings right now? Doesn't even have the larva for it. Not really. He's got 10 larva behind this. And GuMiho, despite not taking these bases, is maintaining that maxed out army just through better trades. He's reinforcing with bio. He's got a few tanks coming out as well. +2 about to finish for those tanks. And he's starting to set up in the middle. He wants to push back up this ramp. He's got the snipes. Lurkers pull back to break the snipes. One lurker down here. It's doing its best to harass, but that's about all it's doing is mildly annoying GuMiho right now. This base, I think, was targeted down earlier, but it did somehow survive with half a hit point. There is still, if I'm not mistaken, a nuke. Hey, there it is. There goes the nuke. Dark gonna try to dive in and take this out. The ghost is not cloaked, and it's being protected. Dark is gonna run away. He doesn't want to pull a solar here. Ooh, gonna lose a couple hydras. Just barely doesn't lose them. But he does lose that hatchery, and it's a crucial hatchery. Too crucial. Dark is forced to tap out as GuMiho takes game number 1 there on Neo Humanity. The ghost control, honestly, the amount of ghosts was insane. But a lot of that comes back to that early pressure that GuMiho did against the Roach Ravager. Dark tried to slow the game down and take it to a point where he could maybe take a slight advantage in those trades, and it just didn't happen. GuMiho did not give him those good trades. And eventually, GuMiho was able to just do enough ghost snipes there. The nuke was the final nail in the coffin as it took out that crucial forward base. That base was crucial positionally, I think, more than even just the mining at that point. Dark had a couple other bases he could mine from, but he needed that base for the position on that ramp in the middle of the map. If GuMiho was able to push forward a little more with all those ghosts, with the tanks and the bio, I don't think Dark would have been able to hold that. Gumi God, dude. Gumi God. Just play like GuMiho. Seeing a nuke kill a hatchery is so satisfying. I feel like seeing a nuke kill anything is satisfying. It's just, honestly, even seeing the nuke like land is satisfying. The worst thing is when the nuke goes off and we're like, whoa, and then the ghost dies or it gets canceled. That's even worse. Like, come on, dude, just at least let it land for us. Do it for the viewers, man. I hope we see more games like that. Oh, it's so sick. We don't get a lot of late game TVZ these days, I feel like. I think the Zergs are largely scared of it. I mean, as we can see, ghosts are very good. And especially against, like, Maru, the Zergs, they just do not want to get there. But if anybody could do it, it would be this Zerg. In the upper right-hand corner, the best spellcaster use of any Zerg in the world. I think that is the truth. It is Dragon Kites Gaming's Dark. His opponent in the lower left-hand corner, often underestimated, but showing us all recently why we should not underestimate him. It is GuMiho, the Gumi God. Opening with the good old 2 racks in the wall here. Are we going to see GuMiho go for the cheeky, like, 3 racks Reaper? So that's something Beyond used to mix in, I think, a little more than he does now. I'm sure he still does. But it was one of those things that made this build so dangerous, is if you just drop a 3rd racks in your main and build 3 Reapers and don't stop building Reapers, the Zerg will sometimes not respect it. They'll be like, you're just going to do the 3 Reaper into Marine, whatever. And then the Reapers just overwhelm them and kill them. Or at least overwhelm them and do a lot of damage before heading into the mid-game. It can be a really powerful variation of this build. We don't see it very often these days. I think the Zerg's got a little bit better at expecting it. And it's one of those things that it works because your opponent doesn't expect it. So you just got to mix it in every now and then. We even saw Future last week do the the good old, everybody knows this one, the 5 racks variation, where you build 5 racks of pure Reaper, build an engineering bay to get +1, and then lose all your Reapers because Solar is really good. That was Future's strat last week. It was a pretty good strat. It worked out really well for him until Future won because he's really good. Now, remember when I was like, we don't see this variation very often. GuMiho's like, oh, did you want to see? Did you want to see that? All right, I got you. GuMiho's got us covered. And he's going to give us 3 racks Reaper. And it's nice when the players do this, because usually as a caster, when you say something, the players do the opposite to spite you. But occasionally they do exactly what you're suggesting could happen. Just to, like, it's like they're showing the viewer. Right as you say, hey, this could be a thing, they're like, here's an example. So GuMiho is going to keep this pressure on, and because Dark didn't open with a Roach Warren this time, which would have hard countered this, it's going to be a lot harder to hold on against. And he's going to know this is coming very soon. Now, 3 Reapers is what you expect to see. 4 Reapers is all of a sudden Dark realizes this is not that build. Metabolic Boost is about to finish, and these Queens are staying alive, but the Reapers are staying alive too, and that is crucial. GuMiho needs to keep these Reapers up as long as possible, because the Lings do well against the Reapers in small numbers, but if the Reapers can dive backwards, keep dropping those grenades and bopping the Lings up, it takes a lot of Lings to overwhelm this many Reapers. The Lings are going to chase them. I think the Reapers might actually win this fight. Comes down to the positioning. GuMiho pulling backwards, bopping those Lings up with the Reaper grenades, changing positions, and that is a great move there. It's going to allow him to keep a lot of these Reapers alive. A couple Reapers go down, though, and I love this from Dark, just pulling the Reapers as far away from his base as possible. He says, yes, come chase this group of Lings. That's totally cool. Meantime, Dark can start getting some stuff up here. He's getting more Queens up. He can spread some of that creep. And now GuMiho, it's hard to push back out into the Zerg's base once you've left. He's still building Reapers, though. 3 Reapers at a time still coming out of GuMiho. We'll see if he continues that. Yeah, starts up 3 more. Okay. All right, GuMiho not chilling at all. And I think he wants to catch Dark chilling, right? He wants to catch him droning. And hey, look at that. Dark's got 5 drones in the production tab. If these Reapers come straight across the map again, Dark might be in some trouble. He needs to get some more Lings out. But he doesn't know that yet. There's 10 Reapers and only 18 Lings. I feel like GuMiho's got to move across soon, though, because otherwise Dark is going to start to get suspicious. Or he is going to find this out. He is going to scout this. He's got Pneumatized Carapace, so he's going to dive in. Oh my god, there's Medivacs coming out. He's going to have Medivacs with these Reapers. Oh my god, he's insane. So the Lings have scouted the Reapers. There's more Lings on the way. But 2 Medivacs, I feel like, is going to be wild against this. All right, let's see how this goes. The Overlord, I don't know if Dark's going to realize this is what this is. He saw a handful of Reapers, but I don't know if he realizes how many. He's getting more Lings out. He's got the Queens in position at this 3rd base. The Reapers can do decently against the Queens or against the Lings, but not really both at once. So he's going to want to pull back to fight these Lings away from the Queens as much as possible. And he's going to have to lift up those Reapers to get them out of there. It's very rare to see Reapers in Medivacs. Also, double healing on these Reapers. They will heal up super quickly. But they can't kill Overlords, so that's something Dark can take advantage of and keep these Overlords out on the map, keeping an eye on what's going on. Reapers jumping up the cliff, trying to catch Dark off guard, but Dark doing an excellent job defensively so far, keeping the Queens and the Lings never too far away from where these Reapers are. GuMiho does have a follow-up. It's going to be Stim, 2 eBays on the way for 1-1. It's just going to be a lot of Marines. Not unexpected. Oh, cheeky Liberator comes in. Actually, 2 Liberators. Wild choice here. The Liberators, one of them is going to go down. The other one stays alive. Reapers jumping up into the main base, clearing some creep. Just want to trade with some of these Lings before probably lifting up and getting out once again. Spire is on the way. I do love the Spire from Dark because this many Reapers means those Marines are going to be very late. Liberators are out. We do have some Widowmines coming out, though, and 1-1 on this bio. GuMiho is going to have a lot of strong Marines available to defend these mutas. Banelings are on the way. Bane speed on the way as well for Dark. But Dark super late to the Evo chambers. He's been dealing with this so much. He doesn't have a huge drone count. His economy's not fantastic. And because he's getting into these quicker mutas, he can't also get into 1-1. Even Dark has limitations, as we have a base cancel or maybe even a base kill down here from the Marines that are starting to push up. The Banelings need to come down and help handle this. They don't have Bane speed yet. It's not a ton of Marines, so they should be okay here. The Lings also need to be available to help against the Reapers, which are still threatening on the top side. Oh, you know what, though? I guess the Mutas can deal with this. The Reapers are going to get lifted up in the medevacs, which will boost away, but they can only get so far away. That could allow these Marines to do damage, but they're not diving in at the same time. These Marines are moving over to the left side to try to deal with the Mutas. Ooh, and actually, this movement from GuMiho ends up being so sick. Dark has to turn the Mutas around. What a move from GuMiho to put these Marines on the left side of the map. Chasing the Mutas away now. The Mutas are going to get joined up by the Lings. Oh, there's some Widow Mines here as well. Lings need to be very careful. Widow Mines get okay connections, but maybe not the best connections. We're going to see a boost into the main. Nope, just into the corner here. Oh, GuMiho's in some trouble. He's got a ton of his army value in these medevacs right now. He's going to be able to drop most of them down to the ground. Did those changelings just block some Marines? Did that happen? I don't know if that's how that works, but Dark just dropped changelings right where those Marines were trying to drop out. Oh, and he keeps Lings and Banes over on this side as well. Oh, it's just the Widow Mines over here. GuMiho does have some more units moving out, but it's just, again, it's just Widow Mines. He's not moving out with the Marines, so he can't come save this at all. He's just trying to trade with this as best as he can and keep these units busy while he, I don't know, maybe macros up a little bit, gets some more bio units out. Dark takes a commanding army supply lead, though, 92-60. And because it's mostly Ling Bane, an army supply lead here for Dark is huge. He's got a lot more than his opponent. GuMiho does have 2-2 on the way, but that upgrade lead was pretty big, and it's down to just a little bit now. If Dark starts up 2-2 immediately, it's only going to be a 30-40 second lead for GuMiho. Not super significant. Dark also has +1 flyer attacks on the way. This game is looking very solid for Dark. His economy is not super fantastic. 75 workers is very solid, but I feel like he's going to want a 5th base and 80 or 85 workers. Whew. All right, Widow Mines are pretty good. Woo. 3 mutas going down there as well. 9 mutas have died. That is not insignificant. Dark's economy getting a little bit better, but I mean, I don't know. It's been a pretty even economy so far. GuMiho's getting some victories here. But his 4th base feels so late. This 4th CC only just started. We are nearly 11 minutes into this game, and the Terran doesn't have a 4th base yet. I will say these mutas have not made it to the other side of the map. They have been stuck on Dark side of the map this whole time. He's just finally getting to GuMiho's side of the map, but he immediately has to turn around as he sees these Marines coming over for him. GuMiho's done such a good job defending his base by being aggressive. He's like, you know, I'm going to make you keep these mutas back at home. I'm going to try to get little cheeky kills here and there with the Widow Mine baits. So far, it's worked very well, but GuMiho also really hasn't gotten any damage done. So while he's mitigated damage on his side of the map, Dark's side of the map has been pretty solid for a while. Surprised we haven't seen Dark get into a hive. He usually likes to get there very quickly. He's playing a heavy lair style. This feels, honestly, it feels almost more like what DRG would go for. Just pure Lingbane Muta right now, getting the upgrades for him. 2-2 nearly done here for Dark. GuMiho's got it finished already. Ooh, but the Banelings diving in. Marines pulling back, letting those Marauders tank the Banelings. That was a very good engagement for GuMiho, who now takes the supply lead. More Lings and Banes diving in. This time the Muta's dealing with those Marauders on the front line. GuMiho pulls back to the safety, relative safety of some Widow Mines. Lings and Banes trying to hit over here, but GuMiho actually has some army nearby. He's got to pull those Marines back, but this Thor. Big Daddy Thor gonna hold on. Ooh, and some burrow play out of Dark. GuMiho spots it. But I love to see that. Do we have any other banelings burrowed around the map? That's something GuMiho is certainly going to have to worry about as this game continues on. Dark is definitely the kind of person to just burrow banelings around and let the Terran try to walk into them. Dark has remaxed. He does have that hive on the way now, but 3-3 is halfway done for GuMiho. And if he can keep this pressure on and keep this game going, he will take a big upgrade lead. Dark going for the counterattack. He's like, all right, I don't want to actually fight your army that's pushing into my base. I want to pull you back. I want to kill your reinforcements in these small groups. The turret and the Thor are going to push those mutas away, but Ling's doing a great job here so far. Baneling smashing into some Marines. Ling's getting on top of the SCVs as well. GuMiho will clean this up. He will send these mutas packing? Question mark? That's a lot of mutas still in the sky here. There's 12 of them. Kill on the medevac as it picks up the Thor. And these Marauders, they do not shoot up. Oh my god. Oh, the banelings. Oh, juicy. GuMiho forced to tap out. Dark on his case too much, cleaning up those reinforcements, taking that fight piecemeal. Which is exactly what GuMiho didn't want. Dark just picking off the Marines, picking off a couple of those Thors, and that allowed the mutas to just clean up the rest of those units. And then the Ling reinforcement just a little bit too strong. The Baneling landmine to close us out. We're all tied up 1-1. What a beautiful series this is. Does this make you excited for GSL between these two? When is that? It's just in a few days, right? I never know when GSL is. I feel like that's like a thing I should know. But I'm bad at keeping track of those things. Did look like a good comeback for GuMiho. He started pulling it back. He took a really nice engagement. Dark got caught a little bit with his pants down, but Dark didn't let it happen. This has been a very sick series. One of the best TVZs I've gotten to cast in a long time, for sure. Already. We're only getting into game 3. We have definitely 4 games. I'm hoping these guys can bring it to 5 for us. Because, man, these have been too good. GSL Playoffs is the 27th. Okay, so in 6 days. So that'll be like Thursday night / Friday morning my time. I think it usually starts at like 2 a.m. or something my time. Which is why I never know what day it is, because I always just wake up and I'm like, oh, there was GSL on last night. And I'll listen to the VOD if I can. That's exciting. So these guys are going to go head-to-head again in a week, live on the stage at Afrika Studios. I hope you guys are able to tune into GSL for that. But in the meantime, they're playing as best of 5 in the KSL. Spawning in the lower left-hand corner of Royal Blood, we have the Dragon Kitesy Gaming Zerg in the blue. Dark. His opponent in the upper right-hand corner in the red, the Towel Terran. It's GuMiho. We start Dark, handle the 3 racks Reaper opening very well last game. It actually looked pretty scary, but I think GuMiho waited too long. I think waiting for those medevacs ended up hurting him more than it helped him, because Dark was able to just drone and drone and drone, and by the time those medevacs got over there, he already had the drone count he needed. He was already chilling on like a ton of workers. He could afford to make the Lings then. He could afford to even lose a couple of units and take those trades. I feel like if GuMiho had just waited for 1, maybe 2 more rounds of Reapers and dove across while Dark had 6 drones in production, he could have really taken advantage of that droning action. But it's easy for us to say. We can see absolutely everything happening. GuMiho. This game probably not going for that third racks. I think it'd be already started by now. The 2 racks a little bit more standard. And there's still a lot of follow-ups to this. I'm interested in what GuMiho is going to go for. Part of me feels like he wants to be a little aggressive right now. So maybe he goes for that 4 racks, super duper heavy marine follow-up. It's kind of like a 2-base all-in. You just go mass marine, and you hit so quickly on the 4 raxes that it can really crunch the Zerg opponent. It can crunch them. As if they were a Pokemon. That'd be a really good descriptive term if I was casting Rattata. Although I don't think he gets crunch until he becomes Raticate. Ah, Pokemon joke. Well, Reaper's getting a little bit of damage here, killing some of those Lings. Only 1 so far, actually. I say that. Thought it was going to be more than that. Dark has a good enough Ling count and good enough Ling control. Keep these guys alive for a while. It's just the 3 Reapers, and it looks like GuMiho is going to follow up a couple of add-ons on these barracks. They're not the most well protected on this map in these positions, though. GuMiho trying to figure out where he wants to put the reactor and tech lab. Pretty solid choice. Queen getting very low here, but staying alive. These 2 Reapers also very low, and as Link speed finishes up, they're going to try to run away. The Lings might be able to catch them. Diving after the low hit point 1, and now it's just 1 Reaper. These Lings, they do not fear the Reaper. Oh, the Reaper getting away, though. Look at this guy go. At least temporarily. It's trying so hard, and it got so far, but in the end, died anyways. Looks like the follow-up here for GuMiho is just going to be the good old-fashioned 16 Marine drop. One of these Marines unfortunately caught outside the door. God, imagine being that Marine. Open the door! Open the depot! The other Marines in the back are like, we can't, the Zerglings will get in. You're just going to have to stay out there. Poor Marine just shaking. Oh, at least he's got some friends now. So the problem with this position of the barracks is that the Marines they won't always spawn on the inside. There's just one little space for the Marines. So that's why they're popping on the outside of the barracks. But a quick third CC. GuMiho is just going to go into some Mariners. And we have Roaches on the way for Dark. So Dark is trying to counter this in the way he knows best to counter things, which is Roach Ravager. It's very strong. Actually, GuMiho's army here, I feel like, is pretty solid. And I kind of like that he's out on the map. Now, Stim is not done yet, so he can't punish these Roaches, unfortunately for Gumi. But fortunately for him, he does see what's coming his way, and now he can start to prepare a little bit. Pull back. He doesn't want to be too far out on the map. He's not going to be able to mine from this third. He's going to be forced to lift it, but it could kind of spot and keep an eye on things. I like this from Dark. I like this so much from Dark. He pulls back, makes another handful of Lings. GuMiho tries to go for the Hellion drop, which I think is a really good idea. Try to harass while he keeps the better fighting units back at home to defend. And now Dark's just going to pressure with the Lings. This is going to allow him to get out if he needs to. He's going to force another liftoff on this base. Although Roaches and Ravagers, the expensive units, stay at home. And Dark is just droning behind this. Getting into double Evo chamber. Getting into a lair. I think this is going very nicely for Dark so far. And GuMiho is still playing scared. He's still keeping back at home, barely mining from this third base. He's going to start dropping some mules now. But it still feels like GuMiho is unsure if there's an attack coming. And Dark is not committing to that attack. Hellion's trying to hold on here against the Lings. There's a tank on the high ground, too. Tank's got to be careful, though. Could friendly fire some of these SCVs. 1-1 about halfway done for GuMiho. It starts up here for Dark, and Dark is going to stick on roaches. He's got that +1 missile attacks. This is going to be a little bit more similar to game 1. Now, game 1, GuMiho was able to put a lot of pressure on, stop Dark from being able to take a 4th base very easily, and just kept him kind of herded in for long enough where GuMiho took a big economic lead, got into that heavy ghost count, and Dark wasn't able to take the cost-efficient enough trades. See if that happens again here. If we get to that late game, GuMiho trying to put the pressure on right now. There's a lot of Lings here, though. Tanks trying to fire off, targeting down the Roach Ravager. The Lings are all dead, but the Marines are not in high enough count to fight the Roach Ravager, so they will just back away. Just little bits of trades here. Dark does take a pretty commanding supply lead, but that's because a lot of Roaches are in production. Roaches, they eat up a lot of army supply, but it doesn't always accurately represent like who's gonna win in the fight. They're kind of a blunt instrument, Roaches. Sometimes if you can get like Burrow or something like that, they can be a little bit more finessed, but in general, they're a little bit blunt. But Dark gonna split some to deal with this drop, which is gonna be forced to pick up. Roaches on the bottom here dealing with this little drop. Just some pressure from GuMiho, but Dark holding it off really, really well. And on 3 bases, already at 170 supply, only 63 drones. This is a huge army. And yeah, I mean, Roach Ravager, it's a little bit of an inflated army supply, but when it's more than double your opponents by a lot, I mean, where are the tanks? What is going on here? The tanks are way back. This 3rd base in a lot of trouble. The 4th base not going to happen. This new factory is going right on down. And these Marines are not going to be enough to hold on. The tank goes down. Oh my god, Biles on the CC. Ooh, it gets healed at the last second as it gets lifted. A lot of SCVs going down for it, but at least the 3rd stays alive. That would have been death for GuMiho. Honestly, I think it might be death for GuMiho anyways, as 30 SCVs go down. Dark not on the best economy in the world, but he's going to get out of there with 100 army supply left. He hits the drone button behind this. Slight misplace on the hatch, but he gets the 4th base down as well. Dark's going to get into a beefy economy off the back of this, and GuMiho is barely alive. And it doesn't feel like GuMiho has the ability to push out and do anything about this either. He is going to have 2-2 done soon, but it feels like if he tries to just get across the map, Dark's going to counterattack again and just crush whatever economy GuMiho has left. GuMiho sees this being hit. That 2-2 is going to be a big deal once that finishes. Dark is hitting just before it does, though. This is definitely the perfect timing for Dark to hit. He needs to go now. He's going to take this fight straight up against the Marines, and as good as these Marines are, the Roach Ravager numbers, I think, are just overwhelming. Tanks getting piled down on the top side. There is still that one on the high ground and the one here in the natural. Dark needs to be a little bit careful not to super overextend, but he's up 30 workers, so he can absolutely keep this pressure on for quite a while. It looks like GuMiho is going to hold. He's going to get this Liberator out now as well. Actually, 2 Liberators here. I didn't realize they were stacked. That's going to make it a lot harder for Dark to push in. I like that they're split as well. Mule's getting dropped. I don't think GuMiho, or Dark, can push up this, rather. GuMiho's got enough army supply now. He's got enough medevacs, too, to keep a lot of these bio units up. GuMiho's starting to push this back. He is still down 50 supply, and the biggest deal for GuMiho is his economy is pretty abysmal. But with those mules, he's actually going to even the mining up for at least a minute or two. He had a lot of banked energy on those command centers. GuMiho's going to push out on the right and the left. He wants to get pressure onto Dark. He's forcing a cancel on a 5th base. GuMiho's making moves happen here. I thought he was fully dead, but he is starting to pull back into this a little bit. Getting some drone kills is pretty crucial, but I feel like he needs to do a little bit more than that. And Dark says, hey, look at all these things you have out on the map. That means those aren't at home. I don't know what the hell these Liberators are doing, but they are not sieged up. Biles are taking down tanks. The bio is nowhere to be found. It's still trying to put pressure on, but Dark left enough back at home to hold on here. Ooh, or did he? The bio going to group up together. This is a lot of Marine Marauder. Dark has that 2-2 now, though, so this bio isn't as strong as it was before, and GG gets called as GuMiho can't push through those reinforcements. And Dark just completely demolished the third. Dark goes up 2-1 in this series. Really good game one for GuMiho, but Dark not letting it happen again. At least not yet. GG. Absolutely sick game. Sick game play. It is crazy. GuMiho has not been able to get that momentum like he got in game one. And I think part of that might have been GuMiho held off Dark's initial like Roach Ravager aggression really well. And then on that map in particular, it can be kind of awkward to take a third base. And New Humanity for map 1 is what I'm referring to. It can be kind of awkward to take a third base and actually take a fourth base. And that was where GuMiho caught Dark out. Dark, though, doesn't seem to be too pressured to take those extra bases. Like, in all these games so far, he has not expanded as quickly as a lot of other Zergs do. He'll get the drone count very high up, but he'll be happy to sit on 70 workers on 3 bases for an extra couple minutes. And it's really working out well for him because there's been a couple times where GuMiho is pushed into a position and there's no base for him. So he clears like 2 creep tumors, but then he has to leave. He can't push any further. He can't push into the third. So it puts him in a bit of an awkward position where he's got this pressure out on the map, but it's just not really doing anything. Game number 4 is going to be on Gresfon. Dark now on match point as we head into this map. We have seen some ultra late games on this map, though. This is, I think, the map I've seen like the most late game TVZs. It's not super uncommon to see in this matchup, and something about it, I think, allows for more bases to be taken and defended. I kind of hope we get another late game for a couple reasons. One, because it's super sick. Oh my god. And 2, because, well, the late game was won by our Terran player, and I kind of want him to win here so we get a game 5. It feels selfish of me, but I just love 5-game series. Spawning in the lower right-hand corner of Gresfon. Started off the series looking hot, but now finds himself in a tough spot. It is GuMiho. Wants to take the whole pot. His opponent in the upper left-hand corner, I've run out of rhymes. It is Dragon Kites Gaming's Dark. I like this Zerg a lot. Here we go. I got another one. Just a rhyming professional. GuMiho this game not going for the 2-Rax Reaper opener. Crazy. Imagine not going 2-Rax Reaper against the Zerg. Might honestly throw Dark off. It's funny what Byun was doing against Zerg. He would go for the 2-Rax Reaper and the 2-Rax Reaper, and then he would command first. It was like, oh, he's fully changing it up. GuMiho is going for the old standard. Reaper expand here. Very, very classic build out of GuMiho. It is worth noting that these guys might have builds, and I mean probably do. Both these players are the kind of player that would have cheeky builds being prepared for their GSL match against each other, which is in 6 days. Yeah, 6 days from now or so. So we might just be seeing slightly more standard builds, or in Dark's case, he has done some maybe wonkier builds, but there's still builds he's probably done plenty of times in the past that GuMiho would know exist already, and Dark probably won't bust those out in the GSL match. Or maybe he's trying to lull him into a false sense of security, right? Oh, if I do the build here, then he won't think I'm going to do the build later in GSL, but I'm going to do the build later in GSL. I just don't want him to know I'm going to do the build later in GSL. Maybe Dark's big braining him right now. But maybe GuMiho is so big brained that he's going to know that Dark is doing the build that he's going to do in GSL, but he wants him to think he's not going to do it in GSL. This is too deep. It's too deep for me. These guys are too smart for me. Or maybe they're not thinking about it at all, and they're just going to play, like, mostly standard because they feel confident in their just, like, standard backer games. We'll just have to wait until next week to see. Maybe if you're watching the VOD of this, you can have a direct comparison. You know, if you're watching the video and you're like, wait, he said 6 days. This video came out 6 days ago. GSL's on right now. You can compare and contrast live. Sounds cool. Everybody should watch this video in 6 days. Just like right before the GSL starts, so you can compare. Yeah, so this is very, very standard from GuMiho. I mean, this is quick 3rd CC, Hellion Banshee opener. We could actually see GuMiho going for mech. He's going to drop the Tech Lab on the barracks, so that doesn't really mean much because he can just swap those add-ons. It would be cool to see him bust out some battle mech here. We have seen him. I think actually in GSL he did go for some battle mech. Ooh, the Lings diving on top of these Hellions, driving them into the Queens. A couple of drones went down there and a few Lings, but that was a beautiful, beautiful cleanup by Dark. I mean, insane value. And killing the Hellions that are out on the map, all the Hellions that are out on the map right now, it's just these two back at home, is just huge value. And we do see Stim started up and double NG Bay, so it is not going to be any sort of battle mech here out of GuMiho. Dark doesn't necessarily know this yet. Also doesn't necessarily know that it's a single cloakless Banshee, which is mainly just here for defense. Might go do some cheeky harass, but probably won't get too many kills. The Raven follow-up's really interesting for GuMiho. It looks like, yeah, that's going to join up with these Hellions and just try to clear some creep. Once upon a time, Hellions didn't do very well at clearing creep, but they changed creep tumors to be light buildings. They are now the second structure with the light tag, along with stasis traps. And that means the Hellions actually do pretty decently against them and can clean them up pretty easily. As we see, joined up with this Raven is very, very nice. The Queen's just too slow to catch that. The Banshee could also come out here and help poke and prod at these creep tumors. But GuMiho just going to get into a lot of Marines. It seems that this has been sussed out by Dark, who's getting straight into Bane speed and melee upgrades, probably Carapace soon too. But also going straight for the Hydra Den. So Lingbane Hydra is going to be the play here. And if I know Dark, there's going to be a hive in the not too distant future. My man loves to get his hives most ASAPly. Triple hatchery here as he takes both a 4th and a 5th simultaneously, as well as the macro hatch. Again, those Hydra upgrades. Dark wants to get into the heavy mid-game units, and he's definitely going to need them, as GuMiho's already pushing across the map. Got a few Hellions with this. Doesn't have an armory on the way, so he could morph Hellbats, but I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference in this army. Ooh, cheeky little auto turret harass now as well. I love that. That's also just going to pull some of the focus of Dark as this push starts in earnest. There's those Hellbats. Tank is sieged up. Creep is cleared. But GuMiho pulling back a little bit. Going to give Dark an opportunity to get a bunch more Lings out. Some Hydras out. These Banelings are all popping. Bane speed is done. +1 is actually pretty close here, as are the Groove Spines. They're about to finish up to give Hydras a little bit extra range. Banshee seems to be on cleanup duty. Those Lings back at home. There's a little drop down here. Nice target fire from GuMiho. Kills both of those Banelings in no time flat. Just drawing these Lings around here. Dark trying to figure out how he wants to take this engagement. He wants to get the full surround of this army. He's going to force the lift up on these Marines, but he should be able to get some good damage done in the meantime. Yeah, the Banelings come in. The Marines got to run away. Tanks and Hellbats do okay in terms of trading with the Lings, though. It looks like this drop is being handled as well. The Queen's going to be able to push it away. It's just 8 Marines. GuMiho just keeping that pressure on. You know, this infestation gets quite a bit later than I expected it to be. I think Dark was pretty worried about holding on to everything here. We'll lose a couple more drones to these auto turrets, but not too much. Just a little bit of lost mining time. There's that Carapace, as well as a +1 missile attacks. Pretty quick +1 missile attacks. I think we usually see +2 melee before we see that missile attacks for the Hydras. Oh, you know what? Never mind. It's triple Evo for Dark. So he's getting +2 melee as well as a +1 missile attacks and +1 Carapace. Triple Evo is, I mean, that's the... It's kind of the sexiest thing you can do as a Zerg. Is there anything sexier than triple Evo? I think double Spire for double Spire upgrades is maybe the only sexier thing you can do as a Zerg player. It's pretty hot. Concussive shells. Solid 9-minute and 30-second concussive shell timing. Ooh, double Hydra Den. Yes, no, you're absolutely right. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, double Hydra Den for quick Hydra upgrades so you can attack. That's like a Mio Micah strat, and it's just a beautiful thing. GuMiho keeping the pressure on. This is pure Marine. He's going to dive 2 of these medevacs into the main base. There's a couple of Spore Crawlers here. Oh, the Lings are here in good time. Ooh, that medevac. GuMiho's trying to be real cheeky with this, but I mean, look at this from Dark, man. He is pushing everything back. He's got units everywhere, forcing lift ups, forcing retreats, keeping these medevacs on their toes as GuMiho pulls back. That being said, GuMiho's taking a 5th. He is full walling with triple command center to protect this 5th base. I'd love to see some more protection over here. I don't know, like a bunker or something maybe, to like punish a Ling Bane run by. Because, I mean, this is insane. This is an insane man thing to do. The Planetary can't even reach that far. There are some drones going down. I think that was the auto turret again, as the Raven died, if I'm not mistaken, but it gets 5 drone kills. Both players had 88 workers. They're about to take off and go back to the future. Oh my god, the man's doing it! He's doing it! I actually think this is for Greater Spire and an upgrade from Dark. He's got triple Evo and double Spire. What a god. So good. So good. Adrenal coming up as well. I mean, GuMiho's in a very good spot, though. It feels like he hasn't gotten a ton done out on the map, and Dark, he's starting to get into heavy late game. But there's 2 factories on the way. GuMiho hasn't been hindered at all on his side of the map. We usually see Zerglings trying to get run-bys and stuff. Dark's been so busy defending. He hasn't gotten any run-bys. He hasn't gotten any damage done on GuMiho's side of the map. It's all just been attacking units, really, that he's been killing. GuMiho missing a bit of mining down here, which is highly unfortunate for him. I really hope he realizes this. This is huge. Okay, he spots it. That's a lot of mining. That was not happening there for a second. 12 SCVs worth. But he's got 3-3 finishing up. GuMiho's got Ghosts coming out. So we have Ling, Bane, Hydra going into Lurker and a Greater Spire. There's some Vipers as well. It's mostly Marine Ghost at this point. But there are some siege tanks up, kind of peppered around, as well as missile turrets. GuMiho is playing careful passive right now. Oh, but he's going to go for a big drop on the bottom side. Dropping a few units in at one base, a few units in at another. These units are dead. And Dark is actually here in record time. This is crazy. GuMiho's going to pick up a few of these Marines and get away. But he's also pushing the top side. Trying to pressure in. Pick off a few units here and there. He wants to keep Dark back and push this creep back. I'd love to see him move through the middle with a handful of Marines as well, but he doesn't want to commit like too much to this. This is what I'm talking about on this map. The late game TVZs are such a thing. I actually feel like Dark is usually very comfortable with these. But we saw GuMiho in game 1 take a very solid late game with those ghosts. Granted, I think GuMiho had a lead heading into that scenario. Whereas in this game feels very even. It's really hard to tell what's going to happen. I think a lot of it's going to come down to those engagements, the compositions. Both players just trying to get all of the upgrades they possibly can. We have smart servos and building armor on the way. There's +3 missile attacks, double flyer upgrades. I mean, they're just getting it all. Lurker upgrades on the way as well. GuMiho's starting to push forward a little bit. Nice EMP, but it doesn't take all of the energy off those Vipers. But killing that one Viper definitely took all of its energy away. GuMiho going to be able to push this position back a little bit, clearing some creep. Lings and Banes diving forward here. The Marines stimming backwards. Ghosts desperately trying to run away, but the Lings and Banes continue to push forward into this siege tank line, which is extremely deep. At the same time, we've got Lurkers on the bottom side pushing through. There's not a lot of defenses here. There's a tank and some ghosts nearby, but this mineral line is in some trouble. The tank on the high ground going to do some good work, especially with that Overseer going down. The snipes pew-pewing those Lurkers and forcing them to back off. Dark taking this base, though. This feels like a GuMiho. I mean, this is a GuMiho base that Dark is actively taking right now. Ooh, there's 2 nukes on the way. GuMiho getting ready for that late game scenario. And as Dark pushes in the bottom, GuMiho trying to push in the top a little bit. This base feels very vulnerable, but at the same time, it's so close to being mined out. There's still quite a bit of gas on this geyser. The minerals are getting pretty low. This geyser's getting pretty low. It's not the most impactful base, but I think positionally, GuMiho really wants to keep that alive because it's buffering for his natural, which is where all his units are coming out. Oh, I hear a nuke that's dropping on the top side. In the meantime, Dark trying to bust in down here. There are a lot of units down here. It looks like that nuke was canceled as the ghost died, but GuMiho holds very strongly down here. I don't think Dark was expecting all those reinforcements to show up. A lot of siege tanks, a lot of Marines, a lot of ghosts shoving that away. One nuke not happening. We'll see if another one happens. There are some Broodlords morphing. That Greater Spire has been done for a while, but Broodlords just now on the way. GuMiho wants to stop this base from existing, but this is not going to be enough Marines to do so. So the Lingbane Hydra dives in here. EMP goes off. I think it hit the Overseers. Well, that was the best EMP in the world, but you know what? It's better than nothing. Oh, we could see some snipes going down here. And a couple connect. Anything's better than nothing. Let's take a look at the trade so far. Better for GuMiho, but honestly, neither player has lost very much, considering how long this game has been. Ooh, the Infestors are out to pair up with the Broods. The nuke is not going to connect, but a couple of snipes connect, and 2 Broods go down just like that. Infestor Broodlord's still good, even in 2023. Ooh! Oh, Medevacs getting targeted there. Nice target fire from Dark. Gets one of the Medevacs. So the ghost that got picked up died anyways. That's gotta suck. If you're a ghost, you get picked up, you just die immediately in the Medevac. GuMiho does have a lot of tanks here, but not a lot of bio to support, so the Lingbane jumping in. But he's got some units nearby showing up to help him push this back. GuMiho really wants to take this position that has left the north side pretty undefended, though, and Dark is about to take advantage of that. Sending the Broodlords forward, sending the Queens forward. Diving those Broodlings out on some creep tools. That was an accident. Nuke on the high ground. That is a creep clearing nuke. That is its only goal, and you know what? It will succeed. It will succeed at clearing creep. I don't know if Dark ever spotted it, but it's going to do a good job there. Well, the planetary will hold while Ghosts and Vikings come up here. I don't know if there's actually any corruptors out right now. There are not, so a few Vikings could actually be really annoying to deal with. Oh, fantastic fungal on these Ghosts. Some EMPs go down, though, so the fungal follow-up is not all that fantastic. Oh, but there's a couple more. That one kind of whiffs. Thor's coming out as well. What are the Thor upgrades? They're on +3 and +1 armor. +2 is on the way for them. This planetary is staying alive, but it's not mining very much right now. Dark is really putting the pressure on. He has 9 Broodlords here, throwing Broodlings out like crazy. Oh, Lings and Banes diving in now. The tanks are sieging up. Gonna target fire those Banelings, but the planetary goes down. No more mining up here for GuMiho, at least for a while. Banelings diving back in. Thor's trying to target down the Broodlord. Snipes going off as well. And there's a big old nuke to send Dark back. That's going to allow GuMiho to retake this position. Looks like he's going to let this nuke land. He's going to do this for us. Thank you so much, GuMiho. It's just satisfying. It's just a satisfying thing. Didn't even kill anything. Who cares? Dark moving more units up here, but he's retaking this base, and he's starting to long-distance mine the gas. He knows that if this game just keeps on going longer and longer, anything he can take from his opponent is going to be good here. That being said, it's a few hundred minerals there just to kind of be annoying to GuMiho. But it looks like GuMiho is going to be able to secure that base. The Broodlords are way too far away to do anything about it. GuMiho's starting to push forward. This is almost pure mech at this point. This is ghost mech. Spooky mech, as they call it. Banelings smashing in to Thors and Ghosts here, forcing cancels on building command centers. No tanks here to support these Thors, and the Thors cannot do it on their own. Although they do tank a metric hell ton of Banelings. What's a hell ton? What are these words coming out of my mouth? GuMiho's going to be able to take this base to the bottom side, but he needs that. It's a crucial base, because this one's been pushed away, and he's going to retake it, but I don't think he's going to be able to hold it for very long unless he sends some more units up here. GuMiho's down to 54 workers, but I think he's totally fine with that, because when you're this spread out on a mech ghost composition, you kind of need a bigger army and a smaller amount of workers. This time he's going to cancel the nuke because he wants to fully clear this position and back up as quickly as possible. Missing this creep tumor is a little bit painful. But GuMiho is taking the bottom side position now. He's trying to retake this base up here, but no SCVs to mine from it just yet. Oh my god. He is going to just deplete the minerals at this base in half a second. That is so many mules. 27 mules on this base. We just got to take a look at this income. 4K minerals. 4K minerals. That is actually insane. Dark's going to hit the top side. It looks like GuMiho is focused on the bottom side a little bit there. Ooh, but where are those ghosts to deal with these lurkers? He's got a few running up now, but he needs to be careful. This base getting pushed away once again. 9 SCVs going down. A few snipes to clear up some of these lurkers on the backside. The trades have still been slightly better for GuMiho, but it's so close now that it's hard to even say. And well, the Broodlords are here. The Thors and the Ghosts are away, so the Broodlords come to play. Now, where was that nuke? It's up here on the top side. This one is gonna land. Clear up a bunch of creep. I'm not sure if Dark knew exactly where that nuke was, because he pulled these broods back when he absolutely didn't have to. But I think he was worried that the nuke was near the broods, and he was just playing it safe. It's hard. Spotting the nuke is extremely difficult. These players are so good, but it's still one of the hardest things you can do. These Thors left all alone, and so many Thors have gone down this game to just handfuls of Lings. They really haven't traded super well. The Thors are specifically meant to fight the broods and just be these big tanky mofos. And they're just not doing their job right now. These ones are trying, but they don't have the support. GuMiho's army feels pretty disjointed at the moment. Oh, and so much of it is in production, too. He's got 140 army supply, but with 5 Thors in production, most of that army is just not here. Ooh, another Thor stays alive, that one. I'd love to see some repair on it. But Dark moving on the top side, taking down this base. It was already, wheels were already spent, so, you know, it did a pretty good job. Nice hot pickups there from GuMiho to pull those tanks and Thors away. But Dark's like, all right, you're focused up there. I'm gonna hit down here once again, and GuMiho just has nothing nearby to deal with this. This planetary is not gonna last super long. It can get repaired, but that only works for so long. GuMiho says, all right, fine, I'm gonna keep pushing on the top side then. I'm gonna keep the pressure on while your Broodlords are all the way on the bottom. And as slow as GuMiho's army is, these Broodlords are even slower. GuMiho's going to start pushing forward here. He's got a few snipes. I don't think there's a ton of ghosts, though. It's literally just the 2. This is a pure mech composition right now for GuMiho. And I think Dark is okay trading with it a little bit. Looks like GuMiho's going to push through. He might be able to take this base down. But Dark's going to go ahead and take this planetary down. The SCVs have already evacuated. Oh my god, there's Lings at this base because it is not, there's no planetaries over here at all. Dark, he's letting this base go, but GuMiho's army up here is not that powerful. And as soon as all those units run away, Dark is starting to think about clearing this. No, looks like he's moving around the bottom side. Lings are dying to planetaries kind of willy-nilly. Dark has 7k minerals in the bank, though, so he doesn't seem to mind. The trades, they're still, God, they're so even. So even. 1,000 resources different at this point in the game is wild. But Dark is definitely ahead. I mean, that bank is huge. He's not fully maxed, but that's only because I think he's just trying to decide what he wants to max out on. Does he want to build a few more lurkers? Maybe a few more broods? At this point, it's kind of whatever he feels like. 10 corruptors on the way. Corruptors are a very interesting choice. I guess it is going to be for broods. Or maybe he's expecting the BC follow-up, which is exactly what it's going to be out of GuMiho. That's what he's going for anyways with this fusion core. This planetary is accidentally shooting the starport. Bit of a mistake there by GuMiho, unfortunate. And in the meantime, Dark's going to clear this third base, kills the planetary. Orbital is forced to lift. GuMiho is out of position to deal with this, trying to deal with those handful of Lings. Planetary stopped shooting the starport. But I don't think GuMiho has the money to get into BCs right now. And I mean, it's fully upgraded air from Dark. And I mean, GuMiho's on 332, but Dark's already got those corruptors out. He's got 10 of them in the sky. Now, if Dark morphs all these into broods, which he doesn't quite have the supply cap for right now, but if he's able to morph all those into broods, and then there was like 6 or 8 BCs, Dark could be in a lot of trouble. That's a big if, and I still actually think Dark is fine. Because I think he just backs up and ends up winning the air fight in like 2 minutes after that anyways. I don't know. This is looking really tough for GuMiho. He's starting to push through on the top side. I don't think Dark was really ready for that push. So he's sending everything up there now to deal with this. This is kind of the full push from GuMiho. He's got 5 ghosts with this. Not exactly the hugest number of ghosts. There's a counterattack here from Dark. Liberator's pulling back to siege up. Stop this counterattack from doing too much damage. Okay, GuMiho rather is pulling back. He killed a base. He wants to come secure his own base now. The Liberators move forward. They actually killed all the anti-air. The Lings are doing a great job in the meantime, but they can't detect the ghosts. So the ghosts will be cleaning them up very quickly. God, the creep spread from Dark, though. Look at this. He immediately, as soon as he dislodges this position, just spreads these creep tumors forward. GuMiho will now clear them up, but Dark making this so much more annoying. And now he pulls back to this base, which is, again, a GuMiho base that Dark has taken. Some drones going down. I don't know where these drones are dying. Oh, they might have been long-distance mining down here. GuMiho trying to take this base, but only leaving a couple of tanks on their own to defend it. I think it's going to have to lift back up until he gets some more units up here. Most of Dark's army is on the bottom side. The scans from GuMiho spot that. GuMiho's going to just rotate around the top side. That might leave an opening for Dark to try to dive into the main with those Broodlords. It's always a big danger for the Terran to lose your production. And he could jump on things like tech, but Dark's production is everywhere. So there's not really a super comparable thing to do. GuMiho tries to push up here, but I think with the scans, he saw the army moving that way. So he decides to stop, rotate back around, or at least pull back towards the center of the map. I will say, Dark's mining is pretty low right now. He's down to 48 workers, but that's about all the mining he has. He needs this base. GuMiho is taking the comparable base to the top side now. This base had a little bit of mining left, but it is not doing it. It's really just these 3.5 bases right now for Dark. He doesn't really have any other mining. Take a look at the income. It is still Dark favored. He still has a pretty sizable bank, but GuMiho's army is pretty huge. And it is pretty terrifying. There is a battle cruiser. I love that it's chilling at home with the Liberators. I think it's a great idea. It forces, if Dark wants to go for a counterattack, he kind of just has to have anti-air with it. Oh, that is a lot of Banelings. I don't know if Banelings are good here, though. There's 11 siege tanks out. This is such a difficult position for both players. I think Dark's army is better. I feel like in a straight-up one-on-one fight, Dark wins. 17 Broodlords? There's only one Hydra, though, and no Corruptors. So this is kind of that position I was talking about. GuMiho trying to mine the crap out of this right now with these mules. Liberators coming over to siege up. There's nothing that kills Liberators, but this base forced to lift and pull back. There's another BC on the way. Very slow battlecruiser production right now. Okay, there we go. Triple BC being made by GuMiho. If he gets out to like 6 or 8, again, that could be a problem for Dark. Dark's bank is pretty sizable right now, so he could absolutely build quite a lot of anti-air units. And he definitely knows there's BCs out because he's spotting them right now, or at least spotting one of them. Ooh, Baneling's going to try to dive into these ghosts. He's clicking X to blow up the Banelings manually, but a great split from GuMiho. He keeps at least a few of those ghosts alive to try to snipe and get these kills. Dark just trying to keep him occupied as long as possible so he can maybe maneuver his units out on the map. With all these ghosts back at home as well, I don't know if GuMiho can actually take a fight against this many broods. There are still 17 of them in the sky. And I saw Corruptors in the production tab because those BCs are out. And this is what I was afraid of with those BCs coming out. They have no use if there's more Corruptors. If there's enough Corruptors to just kill them. They can maybe get their Yamatos off before they die, but it's very tough for them to really do too much. I love these changelings coming out. GuMiho getting back to mining from this base a little bit. Very oversaturated on this gas, but any money he can get right now is huge. Ooh, some nice yoinks here into those Corruptors. Really nothing anti-Corruptor here, except the Thors. The Thors are a little scary for them if they shuffle too far forward. Scan sees the army is not there. GuMiho does still have a lot of scan and or mule energy. He's got a ton of orbitals right now. He spent a lot of money on these battlecruisers, though. He's only got 5 of them. Yamato about to finish. They do have teleport, so they can try to utilize that to their advantage. A nuke on the top side. Dark spots it immediately, pulls the static defense back. The Corruptor's going to hit these BCs. They're going to have to teleport away right away. Or teleport directly into the base, where they will just die anyways. One of them goes down right away. A few of the Yamatos going off, but the rest of them will just fall. GuMiho trying to push through the middle of the map. Broodlords and Infestors are not here to deal with this right now. But I'll be honest, I think the Broodlords and Infestors win this fight. A scan goes down. He's going to spot those Infestors, dropping the Ghost, trying to EMP so that the Neurals can't go down. One Neural is going to hold on here, but there's a couple more on some of the Thors, some of the tanks. And GuMiho just can't win this fight. There are too many Broods. Transfuses going down on them as well. GG gets called as Dark wins the late game engagement. A super long standoff there, about 20 minutes. Those players were at late game tech, just trying not to take a fight. But eventually it happens, and Dark's army just too good. He takes the 3-1 victory over GuMiho here in the KSL Grand Finals, maybe giving us a taste of what we're going to see in the GSL next week. But GG's on both sides. Incredibly, incredibly good games. Some of the best TVZs I've gotten to see this year. Very, very excited for that. Damn.